He's standing in a hallway backstage in Louisville, Kentucky.
It's the spring of 1977. The air smells like sweat and carpet cleaner. Someone is adjusting the microphone pack on his back. His hands are shaking, but not from nerves. He knows what nerves feel like. This is something else. The show is in 40 minutes. He's done this thousands of times. But tonight, like most nights now, he's not sure his body will follow the script. His knees are swollen. His breathing is shallow. He's gained weight in places that make movement harder, lost it in places that make him look older than 42. The jumpsuit they've fitted him into is cut loose, designed to hide what's underneath. It doesn't. A doctor examined him 3 weeks ago in Memphis. The report was clear. His liver is struggling. His colon is distended. His blood pressure is dangerously high. The prescribed medications are colliding with the unprescribed ones. The doctor didn't say stop. Doctors rarely do. But he said rest. He said months, not weeks. He said the body has limits, even if the calendar doesn't. Elvis nodded. He said he understood. Then he looked at the tour schedule pinned to the wall in his manager's office and saw 35 cities in 2 months. He didn't argue. He didn't ask to cancel. He just asked if they could get a doctor to travel with them. They did.
The doctor brought more pills.
Anxious. There's a part of him that knows this is unsustainable. He's not delusional. He reads his own body like a text he's studied too long. He knows the signs. The shortness of breath that starts earlier each night. The way his vision blurs under the stage lights. The moments when his mind goes blank mid-sentence and he has to rely on muscle memory to find his way back into the song. He's aware. That's not the problem. The problem is that stopping means something worse than continuing. He's tried staying home. In the months between tours, he stays at Graceland. He watches television. He eats. He sleeps during the day. He takes pills to sleep and pills to wake and pills to manage the space in between. The house is full of people, but he's alone in it. Staff, friends who depend on him, a daughter he adores but doesn't know how to talk to anymore. Everyone wants something from him, even if it's just his presence. And his presence, when he's not performing, feels like a fact they're all trying to ignore. At home, he's a body in a room. A man who used to be something. On stage, he's still the thing itself. The decision to keep touring wasn't made in a single moment. It was made in 100 small moments of not saying no. When the tour dates were proposed, he didn't object.
When the contracts were signed, he didn't ask to see them.
When the band was assembled and the travel was arranged and the hotels were booked, he let it happen around him like weather. And now he's here in Louisville, about to walk out in front of 18,000 people who paid to see someone he's not sure exists anymore. But he'll try. He always tries. There were warnings, not just from doctors. His father said something last month.
Not directly.
His father doesn't speak directly, but he mentioned a cousin who worked himself to death. He mentioned rest. He mentioned age. Elvis didn't respond. What was there to say? That he's aware. That he's thought about it? That thinking about it changes nothing? One of the backup singers asked him, gently, if he was okay. She'd been with him for years. She saw the difference. The way he used to move versus the way he moves now. The way he used to joke between songs versus the silence that's filled that space. He told her he was fine. She didn't believe him. She didn't push. His manager, Colonel Parker, didn't ask. The Colonel doesn't ask questions. He doesn't want answered. The Colonel sees the ticket sales. He sees the sold-out arenas. He sees a system that works as long as it keeps working. And Elvis, for reasons he can't fully articulate, needs the Colonel to see him as functional, as reliable, as the asset he's always been. So he doesn't tell the Colonel that some nights he forgets the words. to songs he's sung 10,000 times. He doesn't mention the times he's had to leave the stage mid-show, dizzy, nauseous, unsure if he'll make it back. He doesn't talk about the morning when he can't remember the night before. He just shows up. He performs. He leaves. Serious. There's a rhythm to it now. A script. Fly in. Check into the hotel under a false name. Sleep as much as the pills allow. Wake up in the afternoon. Eat something. Take something. Get dressed. Get driven to the venue. Wait in a room that looks like every other room. Walk to the stage. Perform. Walk off. Get back to the hotel. Take something else. Sleep. Repeat. The shows themselves are unpredictable. Some nights, something catches. The audience is loud enough, or the band is tight enough, or the pills are balanced just right. And for an hour, he's exactly who he needs to be. His voice opens up. His body remembers. He jokes. He moves. He connects. Those nights are rare now, but they happen. And when they do, he remembers why he's doing this. Other nights are a fight. His voice cracks. His timing is off. He forgets lyrics and has to improvise or stop entirely. The audience doesn't seem to mind. They cheer anyway. They love him anyway. But he knows. He hears the difference. And the difference is unbearable. After those shows, he sits alone in his hotel room and thinks about stopping. He thinks about what it would mean to cancel the rest of the tour, to go home, to rest, to let his body recover. He thinks about it seriously. He even imagines the conversation, what he'd say to the Colonel, what the Colonel would say back, what the band would do, what the fans would think. And then he thinks about the silence that would follow, the days at Graceland with nothing to do and no reason to be awake. The slow realization that without the stage, he's just a man
With a failing body.
and a history that won't stop replaying in his head. And he takes another pill and goes to sleep and wakes up the next day and gets on the planet to the next city. To the next city. Long break. And there's a moment right before he walks on stage when he could still turn around. Physically, literally, he could tell them he can't do it. He could go back to the dressing room and sit down and say no. The moment exists. It's real.
He feels it every time.
But the moment passes because on the other side of the curtain, there are people waiting. They've been waiting for hours. Some of them have been waiting for years. And he knows what it's like to wait for something that doesn't come. He knows disappointment, and he can't give it to them. Even if continuing means giving them something less than they deserve. So he walks out. The lights hit him, the crowd erupts. And for the first few seconds, the noise is loud enough to drown out everything else. His body, his thoughts, his awareness of how fragile this all is. For a few seconds, it's just a man in a jumpsuit, holding a microphone.
About to sing.
The show in Louisville is not his best. He forgets the words to her. He has to sit down twice. His voice, once a force that could fill any space, sounds thin in the upper register. But he finishes. He makes it through. The crowd gives him a standing ovation. He waves. He smiles. He leaves the stage. Backstage, no one says anything. The band packs up. The crew breaks down the equipment. Someone hands him a towel. Someone else asks if he needs anything. He says no. He gets into the car. He goes back to the hotel. He takes a pill. He tries to sleep. The next show is in 2 days. Then another. Then another. The tour will continue through June. He will perform in cities he's performed in before, in front of crowds who remember him differently than he remembers himself. He will forget more lyrics. He will sit down more often. He will struggle to breathe, to move, to maintain the image that everyone, including him, needs him to maintain.
There will be moment.
When people close to him will try to intervene, they will suggest rest. They will suggest doctors. They will suggest honesty. And he will listen and nod and agree in theory. But in practice, he will keep going. Because stopping requires a kind of surrender he's not capable of. His body is making decisions faster than his mind can process them. His heart is working harder to do less. His organs are compensating for each other's failures. The system is breaking down. He knows this. The doctors know this. The people around him know this. But knowing doesn't change the fact that in 2 days, he'll be on stage again, because the stage is the only place where the gap between who he was and who he is doesn't feel like a betrayal. On stage, the audience doesn't see the swelling or the exhaustion or the confusion. They see Elvis. And as long as they see Elvis, he can convince himself that Elvis still exists. The cost of this is his body. That much is clear. But the cost is also something harder to name. It's the slow erasure of the boundary between performance and survival. It's the inability to imagine a version of himself that isn't standing in front of a crowd. It's the quiet, suffocating belief that if he stops being Elvis Presley, the performer, he stops being anything at all. In the hotel room in Louisville, he sits on the edge of the bed. His hands are still shaking. He's thinking about the next show. He's thinking about the one after that. He's not thinking about stopping. Stopping isn't part of the script anymore. The script is wake up, take something, get to the venue, perform, survive the performance, go back, take something else, sleep, repeat. The question isn't whether he'll continue. He will. The question is, what happens when the body refuses to follow the script? When the pills stop working? When the stage itself becomes impossible? He doesn't know the answer. He's not sure anyone does. But tonight, in Louisville, he performed. He walked out. He sang. He made it through. And tomorrow, or the day after, he'll do it again. Not because he wants to, not because he's being forced, but because the alternative, sitting in silence, waiting for a version of himself that doesn't need the stage, is unimaginable. The tour continues. The shows blur together. The cities blend. The audiences cheer. And Elvis, standing in the center of it all, tries to remember what it felt like when this was easy. When his body did what he asked it to. When performing was joy instead of evidence. When the stage was a place he went to, not the only place he could exist. He can't remember, or maybe he can, but the memory is so distant now that it feels like it belongs to someone else, someone younger, someone who didn't know yet that the thing you love can become the thing that kills you.
Not dramatically.
Not suddenly, but slowly, over years of saying yes when no was possible, of continuing when stopping was the only logical choice. In a few months, the tour will end. Not because he chooses to stop, but because his body will make the choice for him. He will collapse. He will be rushed to a hospital. He will recover enough to plan another tour. And then, in August, alone in a bathroom at Graceland, his body will finally refuse. The script will end, not with an audience, not with applause, just a body that couldn't continue. But tonight, he's alive. He's in Louisville. He performed, and in 2 days, he'll do it again. The meaning isn't in the decision to continue. The meaning is in the impossibility of stopping, in the way a person can know intellectually that something is destroying them and still be unable to choose differently because the self is not a single thing, making a single choice. It's a collection of needs and fears and identities, all competing, all demanding to be heard. And sometimes the need to be seen is louder than the need to survive. Elvis didn't choose the stage over his health. He chose the stage over the silence, over the version of himself that would exist without it, over the long, quiet years of being a man who used to matter. He chose the noise, the lights, the proof every night that he was still real. And the question that remains, the one that doesn't have an answer,
is whether he ever really
had a choice at all.